Friends, in this video we are going to see unit 1 of the design of pre-stressed concrete structures 18STE51. Unit 1 is principle and analysis for fracture. So first let's see what is reinforced concrete. Concrete is strong in compression, weak in tension, that we know already. Steel is strong in tension. Reinforced concrete uses concrete to resist compression and to hold bars in position and uses steel to resist tension. Tensile strength of concrete is neglected here, that means 0. Okay. RC beams, reinforced concrete beams, allows cracks under service load. So this is what some notes about reinforced concrete that we know already. So now see what is pre-stressed concrete. Actually pre-stressed concrete is a very interesting subject. If you understand, this will be very easy. Okay. What is pre-stressed concrete? Internal stresses are induced to counteract external stresses. That is what pre-stressed concrete. Okay. For example, how to tell, in normal RC beam there will be a bending stress, right? See the figure 1. If we apply dead load and live loads on the top in downward direction, see figure 2, the beam will bend like this. Okay, see the figure 2. Then you see the figure 3 and 4. If we apply pre-stressing force in the concrete beam, so figure 3 and 4 is showing the applying of pre-stressed force. Okay, so when we apply pre-stressing force, see figure 5, there will be a internal compressive force induced. So see figure 5, the beam will bend in the upward direction. Okay, so in figure 2, due to external dead and live load, the beam will bend in downward direction. And see figure 5, due to pre-stressing force, the beam will bend in upward direction. So that what will happen is, due to the downward and upward direction, the stress in the beam will get nullified, means will get balanced. So that is what the pre-stressed concrete. See here you see, normally if you apply typical load, so this will be the bending of the reinforced concrete beam. Okay, if we applied pre-stressing force also, so see the second figure, there will be a dead load and also the pre-stressing tendon. Then see the third figure, then the beam will become to a normal straight position. Okay, so actually the pre-stressing concept is in externally applying the pre-stressing force, so that we are inducing the internal compressive force. It will nullify the force which is coming due to external dead load and live load. So this is what the main concept. Why we are doing this is because the concrete is weak in tension. So ultimately we are going to reduce that tensile stress in the reinforced concrete members. That is what the main concept of the pre-stressing force or pre-stressed concrete members. Next, concept of pre-stressing. The concept of pre-stressing was invented years ago when metal around wooden pieces to form barrels. The metal bands were tightened under tensile stress, which creates compressive between the staves, allowing them to resist internal liquid pressure. Actually, in pre-stressing force, we are applying tensile force in the pre-stressing tendons, so that it will create compressive stress inside the concrete. That compressive stress inside the concrete will nullify the tensile stress which coming due to external dead load and live load. So in pre-stressing tendons we will apply tensile force only, but that tensile force will create the compressive stress in the inside of the RC members. Next, principle of pre-stressing. Pre-stressing is a method in which compression force is applied to the reinforced concrete section. This already I have told. The effect of pre-stressing is to reduce the tensile stress in the section to the point till the tensile stress is below the cracking stress. Thus the concrete does not crack. It is then possible to treat concrete as an elastic material. The concrete can be visualized to have two compressive force, that is internal pre-stressing force. Next one is external forces. So these two forces must counteract each other. So this is the principle of pre-stressing. The figure shows, just see, it's a cross section of the RC beam or RC element. First one is the pre-stressing force. So it is an axial force. Here the pre-stressing is applied at the CG. Okay, it's stress in concrete and pre-stressing is applied at the center of gravity of the section. Just see the blue color point mentioned that there is the pre-stressing force. Okay, if we apply in the CG of the concrete section, so the pre-stressing force will be actually the axial, right? We know already that if there is no eccentricity, the force will be axial. So that stress will be load by area, that is F by A. If the pre-stressing force is F, the area of the section is A, then the pre-stressing stress will be F by A. So where whatever will be there, the stress due to dead load and the stress due to live load will be there. The stress due to dead and live load figures, the distributions are shown in yellow color. So you can see in that figure. So ultimately, if we add these things, the stress due to dead load and live load will be have moment also. That's why this is not axial stress. This is the bending stress. The stress due to dead load and live load will be the bending stress. That way the figure is like that. So if we add these stress, we will get resultant stress. See that resultant stress diagram. There is a large compression. The top is the compression, bottom is the tension. See, large compression and very little or no tension. Okay, so this is what we need. So we have to reduce or we have to nullify the tensile stress. So this is the concept of pre-stressing force. Okay, so actually this figure shows the pre-stressing applied at the CG of the section. See the next figure. This is the figure shows the stress in concrete when pre-stressing is applied eccentrically with respect to the CG of the section. So previous case we saw the pre-stressing force is applied at the CG of the section. Here you see the blue color dot, that is actually we want to mention that pre-stressing force is applied at the some eccentricity from the CG. You can see here, there. So now what are all the forces will be there? What are the stresses will be there? So the axial stress F by A we have already seen. In addition to that, there will be a bending stress also, which is due to pre-stressing force because of the eccentricity. Okay. Then other two things we already know, that stress due to dead load plus stress due to live load. If we add these four things, we will get the resultant stress diagram. See there will be a smaller compression and smaller tension. So there is a mistake in the diagram. The top one is the smaller compression, is the smaller tension. Okay. So here we reduce tension to that to some extent. Okay. Next we will see types of pre-stressing. So there is a types depends upon the some classification. So first classification, source of pre-stressing force. In source of pre-stressing force, first one is hydraulic pre-stressing. So this is the simplest type of pre-stressing, producing large pre-stressing forces. The hydraulic jack used for the tensioning of tendons comprises of calibrated pressure gauges which directly indicate the magnitude of force developed during the tensioning. Okay, so here what you have to know is how we are applying the pre-stressing force. Actually, we will be inducing some pre-stressing cables in the concrete section, then we will applying the tensile force in the ends of that cable. So this is the concept. So for applying that forces, there are many methods. So this is the one which is hydraulic pre-stressing. Okay. Next one, mechanical pre-stressing. In this type of pre-stressing, the device includes weights with or without lever transmission, gear transmission in conjunction with pulley blocks, screw jacks with or without gear drives, and wire winding machines. So this type of pre-stressing is adopted for mass scale protection. So next one is electrical pre-stressing. In this type of pre-stressing, the steel wires are electrically heated and anchored before placing concrete in the molds. So this type of pre-stressing is also known as thermoelectric pre-stressing. Next classification is external or internal pre-stressing. In external pre-stressing, when the pre-stressing is achieved by elements located outside the concrete, it is called external pre-stressing. The tendons can lie outside the member, for example in eye girders or walls, or inside the hollow space of a box girder. This technique is adopted in bridges and strengthening of bridges. In the following figure, the box girder of a bridge is pre-stressed with tendons that lie outside the concrete. See the figure. Here, the external pre-stressing of a girder. Okay. Next one, internal pre-stressing. When the pre-stressing is achieved by elements located inside the concrete member, means commonly by embedded tendons, it is called internal pre-stressing. Most of the applications of pre-stressing are internal pre-stressing. In the following figure, concrete will be cast around the ducts for placing the tendon. So mostly we are using the internal pre-stressing. So see the figure. This is what internal pre-stressing of a box girder. Next classification is pre-tensioning or post-tensioning. This is the most important classification. So see what is pre-tensioning. The tension is applied to the tendons before casting of the concrete. The pre-compression is transmitted from steel to concrete through bond over the transmission length near the ends. The following figure shows the manufactured pre-tensioned electrical poles. So we will see the figure later. First I will explain. In pre-tensioning case, before casting the concrete, we will place the tendons in the mold. Okay, then after that we will pour the concrete and we will make the concrete to harden. Okay, then before placing, we will tensioning that tendons which is inside that RC mold. That tendon will be in tension itself. After it will be in tension. After that we will pouring the concrete and we will allow the concrete to harden. Okay, after hardening we will remove that forces, tensile forces we are applying in the end sides. Okay, after releasing that force, what will happen is the tendon will try to shrink, because we already applied the tensile force in that ends. So when we release that force, the tendon will try to shrink, but there is a strong bond inside that RC beam, because there will be a strong bit between the concrete and steel, so that will resist that tendon to shrink. So due to that, there will be a compressive stress induced inside that concrete element. So this is the pre-tensioning method. Okay, so this is the pre-tensioned electrical poles. Mainly pre-tensioning will be used in the factory made elements. Okay, means pre-cast members. Then post-tensioning. The tension is applied to the tendons after hardening of the concrete. Okay, the pre-compression is transmitted from steel to concrete by the anchorage device at the end of the blocks. The following figure shows a post-tensioned box girder of a bridge. Okay, we will see the figure later. So in post-tensioning system, what will happen is when we pour the concrete, we will leave one duct in the mold for placing the pre-stressing tendons. Then after that we will pour a concrete and we will make the concrete harden. After hardening of the concrete, we will insert that cable, that pre-stressing tendon or cable. Okay, pre-stressing tendon inside that duct which we left. Then we will apply a anchorage forces in the ends of the pre-stressing tendons. Okay, so that we will, after applying, we will release that tendons. The same kind it will try to shrink, but there is no more space to shrink, so it will create a compressive stress within the concrete elements. Okay, see the figure. Post-tensioning of a box girder. Mostly the post-tensioning will be used in the cast in situ places. Okay, mainly in the bridge construction and all, we will be using the post-tensioning systems. One more example, the Chennai Metro. In Chennai Metro, the bridge construction was done by using post-tensioning systems. Okay, next classification, linear or circular pre-stressing. Okay, first linear pre-stressing. When the pre-stress members are straight or flat in the direction of pre-stressing, the pre-stressing is called linear pre-stressing. Okay, for example, pre-stressing of beams, piles, poles and slabs. Okay, the profile of the pre-stressing tendon may be curved. The following figure shows linearly pre-stressed railway sleeper. See, linearly pre-stressing means it's nothing but the pre-stressing cables or pre-stressing tendon should be straight. Okay. See, these are all the linearly pre-stressed railway sleepers. The curved will be in arches and all. Those things will be curved pre-stressing. See, circular pre-stressing. When the pre-stressed members are curved in the direction of pre-stressing, the pre-stressing is called circular pre-stressing. For example, circumferential pre-stressing of tanks, silos, pipes and similar structures. Okay. So, the circular elements and the arch type elements will have a curved pre-stressing bars or tendons or cables. So those type of pre-stress may be called as a circular pre-stressing. Next one, this is example for circularly pre-stressed containment structure. Okay, here we should done circular pre-stressing only. Here we can't go for a linear pre-stressing. Then our next classification is full, limited or partial pre-stressing. First, full pre-stressing. When the level of pre-stressing is such that no tensile stress is allowed in concrete under service loads, it is called full pre-stressing. Then limited pre-stressing. When the level of pre-stressing is such that the tensile stress under service load is within the cracking stress of concrete, it is called limited pre-stressing. Partial pre-stressing. When the level of pre-stressing is such that under tensile stresses due to service loads, the crack width is within the allowable limit, it is called partial pre-stressing. Okay, this is easily you can understand these three things. No need to explain further. Next, uniaxial, biaxial or multi-axial pre-stressing. Uniaxial pre-stressing. When the pre-stressing tendons are parallel to one axis, it is called uniaxial pre-stressing. For example, longitudinal pre-stressing of beams. Right? In beams, we will be having only the along the length direction only we will be having the bars. So such type of biaxial. In biaxial pre-stressing, when there are pre-stressing tendons parallel to two axes, it is called biaxial pre-stressing. The following figure shows the biaxial pre-stressing of slabs. So you will see this figure later. So in beams, we will be having only the reinforcement bars only in the length direction. So it is uniaxial. Okay. So the pre-stressing in beams will be called as uniaxial pre-stressing. But in case of slabs, we will be providing the main reinforcement, also the distribution reinforcements. Means we will provide in the both the directions. So in such case, it will be called as the biaxial pre-stressing. Next, multi-axial pre-stressing. When the pre-stressing tendons are parallel to more than two axes, it is called multi-axial pre-stressing. For example, pre-stressing of domes. So domes we have to provide all the three directions. We have to provide a pre-stressing force in all the three directions. All the directions, not three, all the directions. So that is called as multi-axial pre-stressing. Next, pre-tensioning systems and devices. Okay, in pre-tension, the tension is applied to the tendons before casting of concrete. Actually, we have already seen what is known by pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. Actually, this is one of pre-stressing. Okay, in type of pre-stressing, we have seen that pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. Okay, so now I have already told that this is the very important method of type of pre-stressing system. So now we are going to see further about that pre-tensioning and post-tensioning systems which we are going to use in pre-tensioning and post-tensioning pre-stressing systems. Okay. So we already know that in pre-tensioning the tension is applied tendons before casting of the concrete. Already I have told you. The stages of the pre-tensioning. The various stages of the pre-tensioning operation are summarized as follows. That is, first anchoring of tendons against the end abutments, then placing of jacks, then applying tension tendons, then casting of concrete, then cutting of the tendons. Okay, this is the process. You just see the figure. In first figure, we are placing the tendons and the jacks and we are applying the force. Okay. In second one, casting of concrete. After that, we will be casting the concrete above it. In third one, we will be cutting the tendon. So after cutting the tendon, it will try to shrink. So ultimately, it can't shrink because of the bond between the concrete and steel. So then it will induce the compressive stress inside the concrete. Advantages. The relative advantages of pre-tensioning as compared to post-tensioning are as follows. Pre-tensioning is suitable for precast members produced in bulk. In pre-tensioning, large anchorage device is not present. One, disadvantages of pre-tensioning. The relative disadvantages are as follows. A pre-stressing bed is required for the pre-tensioning operation. There is a waiting period in the pre-stressing bed before the concrete attains sufficient strength. There should be good bond between concrete and steel over the transmission length. So if we have only the good bond, then only the compressive stress will create. If we don't have the good bond, we won't have any compressive stress. That steel will get shrunk. So this is a traveling pre-tensioning stress bench. This is anchoring of strands. You can see in that figure. Next you see this is jack at the stretching end. This is the extension of the stretching of the strands. See, this is the hydraulic jack at the stretching end. Here they are stretching the strands. Okay. Strands is nothing but a steel wire having the high strength. Next, pouring of concrete, then steam curing the chamber, steam curing chamber. They are curing it in the steam curing chamber. Then demolding of sleeper. Okay. Then storage. Next, post-tensioning systems and devices. In post-tensioning systems, the tension is applied to the tendons after hardening of concrete. That I have told already. So, stages of post-tensioning. First one, casting of concrete. Second one, placement of the tendons. Third one, placement of the anchorage blocks and the jacks. In pre-tensioning, there is no need of anchorage, but here we need anchorage. Next one, applying tension to the tendons. Next one, seating of the wedges. Then cutting of the tendons. Okay, see, casting bed. Then see, there is a duct. Here you can see that plane inside that concrete block. There is a plane length. Okay, that is called as duct. Okay. So we will be leaving the duct before casting of the concrete. Okay. Now this is a side view. That is. Then after that we will be anchoring the tendon at the stretching end. Then we will be applying the tensile force. Then we will be cut the tendon. Next, advantages of post-tensioning. The relative advantages of post-tensioning as compared to pre-tensioning are as follows. Post-tensioning is suitable for heavy cast in place members. The waiting period in the casting bed is less. The transfer of pre-stress is independent of transmission length. So devices which we used for post-tensioning are casting bed, mold or shuttering, ducts, anchoring devices, jacks, couplers, grouting equipment. Okay, these are all the equipments used in the post-tensioning systems. So next we are going to see materials used in the pre-stressed concrete elements. Okay. So first one, concrete. Concrete is a composite material composed of gravels or crushed stones. You used to call as coarse aggregate, sand and hydrated cement. It is expected that the student of this course is familiar with the basics of the concrete technology, right? You already know what the concrete is comprises of. Next, this is the concrete that we know already. Then aggregate. The coarse aggregate are granular materials obtained from rocks and crushed stones. They may be also obtained from synthetic material like slags, shale, fly ash and clay for use in lightweight concrete. The sand obtained from river beds or quarries is used as fine aggregate. The fine aggregate along with the hydrated cement paste fill the space between the coarse aggregate. These things and all you know already. The nominal maximum coarse aggregate size is limited by the lowest of the following quantities. First one, 1/4 times the minimum thickness of the member. Second one, spacing between the tendons or strands minus 5 mm. Third one, 40 mm. Next one, cement. The present day concrete cement is a mixture of limestone and clay heated in a kiln to 1400 to 1600 degrees Celsius. Next one, water. Water used for mixing and curing shall be clean and free from injurious amounts of oils, acids, alkalis, salts, sugar, organic materials or other substances that may be deleterious to concrete and steel. Next, admixtures. The admixtures can be broadly divided into two types. That one, chemical admixtures and mineral admixtures. The common chemical admixtures are as follows: iron turning admixtures, water reducing admixtures, set retarding admixtures, set accelerating admixtures, water reducing and set retarding admixtures, water reducing and set accelerating admixtures. The common mineral admixtures are as follows: fly ash, ground granulated blast furnace slag, silica fumes, rice ash, metakaolin. Next, properties of hardened concrete: high strength, durability, stiffness, minimum shrinkage and creep. So these are the requirements for the pre-stressed concrete. Okay. High strength, the maximum grade of concrete is 60 megapascal. The minimum grade of concrete for pre-stressed applications are as follows. These 2 points are very important. The 30 megapascal for post-tensioning members and 40 megapascal for pre-tensioning system. This is the minimum grade requirement for pre-stressing. Okay. You should remember this always. Next, stiffness of concrete. The stiffness of concrete is required to estimate the deflection of members. The stiffness is given by the modulus of elasticity. Durability of concrete. The durability of concrete is of vital importance recording the life cycle cost of a structure. The life cycle cost includes not only the initial cost of the materials and labor but also the cost of maintenance and the repair. Next, creep of concrete. Creep of concrete is defined as the increase in deformation with time under constant load. Due to the creep of concrete, the pre-stress in the tendon is reduced with time. Hence, the study of creep is important in pre-stress concrete to calculate the loss in pre-stress. So, we will see later about the loss in pre-stress. So, there the creep of concrete is important one. The creep occurs due to 2 causes. One is rearrangement of hydrated cement paste. Second one is expulsion of water from voids under load. Next, shrinkage of concrete. Shrinkage of concrete is defined as the contraction due to loss of moisture. The study of shrinkage is also important in pre-stressed concrete to calculate the loss in pre-stress. The shrinkage occurs due to 2 causes. One is loss of water from voids, then reduction of volume during carbonation. Next one, grout. Grout is a mixture of water, cement and optional materials like sand, water reducing admixtures, expansion agent and pozzolans. The water to cement ratio is around 0.5. Fine sand is used to avoid segregation. The desirable properties of grout are as follows: fluidity, minimum bleeding and segregation, low shrinkage, adequate strength after hardening, no detrimental compounds. Next, durable. So next important one, the pre-stressing steel. The development of pre-stressing concrete was influenced by the invention of high strength steel. So thus the steel which we used for the pre-stressing member should be of high strength. Okay, it is an alloy of iron, carbon, manganese and optional materials. In addition to pre-stressing steel, conventional non-pre-stressed reinforcement is used for flexural capacity, shear capacity, temperature and shrinkage requirements. So in addition to pre-stressing steel, we can also use the non-pre-stressed reinforcements, means the normal reinforcing bars. edukagana to increase the shear capacity, temperature and shrinkage requirements. Okay. So wires, the pre-stressing wire is a single unit made of steel. The nominal diameter of the wires are 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 7 and 8 mm. The different types of wires are as follows. Plain wire means no indentation on the surface. Indented wire, there are circular or elliptical indentations on the surface. Next one, strands. A few wires are spun together in a helical form to form a pre-stressing strand. The different types of strands are as follows. Actually, wire is a single rod, okay, or single material. So strand is a number of wires will spun together. That is all called as strands. 2 wire stand, 3 wire stand, 7 wire stands are there. So 2 wire stand means 2 wires are spun together to form a strand. 3 wire stand means 3 wires are spun together to form a strand. 7 wire stand means in this type of stand the 6 wires are spun around the central wire. The central wire is larger than the other wires. Okay, you can imagine, or I will show later. Next, tendons. A group of strands or wires are placed together to form a pre-stressing tendon. The tendons are used in post-tension members. Okay, so tendons means the group of strands or wires can be placed together is called as a tendon. Next, cables. A group of tendons form a pre-stressing cable. The cables are used in bridges. Okay. So So next, bars. A tendon can be made up of a single steel bar. The diameter of a bar is much larger than that of a wire. So bars are available in the following sizes: 10, 12, 16, 20, 22, 25, 28 and 32. Yeah, you can see here. These are all the wires. There are wires. Then strand. First one is wire. Next one is strand. You can see in fourth figure you can see there are many wires and they are used as a strand. Okay. So okay, this is what actually here I have completed the theory portion of the first unit. Okay. In next video we will see the problems. Okay. Mostly the laws of pre-stress and analysis for fracture. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.